And then Allah Rabbul Izzah moves, listen carefully, straight, because He promised them 2 kingdoms. The first one He talked about, then He told us what will happen to us, and then He goes straight to the end of the second reign. And the miracle of the Quran, think about it, dear ones. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was no mention of the children of Israel coming back together, a state forming, all of this. But the Quran says that 2 reigns will come. So the first one is there, and another one will come. So when it came, when the state of Israel, was created, it was a fulfillment. And once it became strong and had authority, it was a fulfillment without them knowing of the Quranic verses that 2 reigns. The first in the Quran uses the word وَعَدُ أُولَاهُمَا وَوَعَدُ الْآخِرِ. He doesn't use the word وَعَدُ الثَّانِي وَعَدُ الْأُولَى وَوَعَدُ الثَّانِي. Like we have جَمَادُ الْأُولَى, جَمَادُ الثَّانِي. The Quran doesn't use the first one and the second one. It says first one and the last one. And Allah Rabbul Izzah is merciful, Jalla Subhanah. So there will be a first reign and a last reign. So we are in the last reign. This is the only time after the time of King Solomon and the deterioration and the evil and vice that happened after his reign. This is the only time where children of Israel have authority or reign or a state. So the Quran then goes straight to the signs of the end. It doesn't talk about how it will form and all of this. It goes straight. فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعَدُ الْآخِرَةِ. وَعَدْ أي نهاية وَالزَّوَالِ. When the end of the second reign comes. When the downfall and the end of the second reign comes. So just as a point, these are prophecies, verses that predict or prophesize what will happen into the future. And we are having an academic, technical discussion of verses that are in the Quran. These are not calls to action, nor is there any anti-Semitic notion associated with this, in case there's some silly person out there who wishes to make more of this than it is actually intended. So an academic discussion of prophecy, and Allah Rabbul Izzah guide us to the truth, Ya Rabb. So the verse says, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعَدُ الْآخِرِ. When the end of the second reign comes. And also nations come and go. A few years ago there was the USSR, big bloc on the planet. America and all the nations were cautious of it. But now the maps have changed and there's no USSR on it. Before that was the Ottoman Empire. So empires, states, countries change, come and go, and all of that. So this is just a normal nature of the way life is. So the Quran talks about the end of the second reign, and it gives these signs as the signs to watch for, which will indicate the end of the second reign. Listen carefully. So it says, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعَدُ الْآخِرِ لِيَسُوءُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ. So of the signs of the end of the second reign is that they would insult or wrong or hurt or embarrass your faces, as in the face of the Muslims. So when the humiliation of the Muslims, who are the local populations in Palestine, when that starts and that takes root, this is one of the signs to watch for the demise and the end of the second reign of the children of Israel. That's the first one. The second sign, وَلِيَدْخُلُوا الْمَسْجِدَ كَمَا دَخَلُوهُ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. And they will enter the masjid, and in the verse, in references Masjid al-Aqsa, they will enter the masjid like they entered it the first time. Here's a beautiful little point to note. So generally, our Jewish cousins do not go into where the temple was, or where the masjid is, or even where the Wailing Wall is. Not in the numbers that you would expect. Some of them go, but the great majority do not. And the question is why? Because religiously, they're in a state of ceremonial impurity. So their belief is that if anyone has touched someone dead, they're in a state of ceremonial impurity. Or if you touch someone that has touched someone who is dead, they fall into a state of ceremonial impurity, religious impurity. They can't go to what they believe as the temple. So therefore, they need to be cleansed. They need to go through a cleaning process. And the cleaning process, according to them, is that red cow, the red heifer promised in the Bible, must be slaughtered, and with its ashes they will be cleansed from this impurity, and then they can enter the temple or the mosque. Now they have been seeking this red heifer for years, trying to find it so that they could have the ceremonial cleansing, and then they could enter the temple, or as the Quran says, the masjid. And eventually, only now, they have found it. So I'm anticipating that the plan is that when it is found, an animal without fault and flaw, and a one that has never worn collar, and a one that has never mated or had children, all the criteria that they have is met. And then what will happen, I envisage this, again, it might not be accurate, I envisage this, that there will be a massive ceremony in which our Jewish cousins from around the world will flock to Baytul Maqdis for this cleansing process, and they will enter it in multitudes as they entered it in the time of Solomon and in the times of the prophets before. So the verse says, the second sign is وَلِيَدْخُلُوا الْمَسْجِدَ كَمَا دَخَلُوهُ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. They will enter the masjid, the temple, as they entered it the first time, like in their masses and in their multitude. So that will be the second prophecy, or the second part, or the second sign of the demise of the second reign coming true. And the third one, وَلِيُتَبِّرُوا مَا عَلَوْا تَتْبِيرًا. And they will demolish, undo, bring to the ground everything that has been built up above the ground. You see glimpses of this. So now there are multi-story buildings in Palestine and in Gaza, and a rocket hits down the bottom and the whole building collapses. Exactly as the prophecy said, they will bring to the ground, destroy whatever you have raised above the ground. There's another possible understanding of the verse, as they will bring to the ground everything that has been built for the time or the duration of their reign, meaning that there'll be a lot of destruction and downfall. And subhanallah, just with regards to to support the evidence of the second one, that they will enter the masjid, towards the end of the surah, Allah Rabbul Izzah says, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعَدُ الْآخِرِ جِئْنَا بِكُمْ لَفِيفًا. When the last rain comes, or the end of the last rain comes, we will gather them from around the planet. And now in Israel, they already gathered, like they come from Europe and America and Yemen, all around the world. The children of Israel, or their remnants, come in. But I think there will be a monumental one, a great surge when they try to sacrifice this red heifer, and then it will again meet the next verse, that جِئْنَا بِكُمْ لَفِيفًا, we will gather you from all over the place. So this is the prophecy that the scholars refer to with regards to the first and second reign of the children of Israel. And I pray this has answered your question. My apologies for taking too long. Assalamu alaikum.